Hey guys, Wet Movie 1 back here again for another Blu-ray DVD update video for you guys today. It's been about 2 weeks or so since my last one. Got a big old stack of goodies here to talk to you guys about today. But before I get on to the first one, everyone, please give this video a thumbs up if you guys support my videos. Also, drop a comment down below later on in this video, letting me know what you guys think about some of the movies I'm talking about in this one. First up here from Scream Factory is a movie I always liked since like the mid-90s when I saw it for the first time. Big fan of this director, and it's the collector's edition of Shocker here on Blu-ray. This is a film that's directed by Wes Craven, who you guys all know, who made The Hills Have Eyes, Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street. And this movie right here is about this young kid named Jonathan. He's a foster child. He lives with his foster family. He's like the head quarterback of the high school football team. Until the beginning of this movie, his foster mother and one or two of his other siblings get murdered by this mass murderer that's going around town, just killing people, a serial murderer, and his name's Horace Pinker, and his father is a cop, and they try to find this guy to take this guy out and help, make him stop killing people all over the town. And it's pretty much him, trying to figure out, what he can do to get this guy to take him out. But the thing is, they capture Horace Pinker, the serial killer, and they put him to the electric chair. But as soon as he goes and gets electrocuted, something happens to his soul, and he can transfer his soul into any random person and keep his killing spree on the go. So it's pretty much Jonathan and his father trying to take out Horace Pinker, and stop him from doing his craziness. That's all I can really say about this movie. But this movie really does have some elements of like Nightmare on Elm Street in here, because Jonathan, the football player, can kind of go into like a dream state and find out where the killer is. Find out where the serial killer is and try to take him out before he commits more murders. It kind of has that Nightmare on Elm Street kind of vibe to it, but going into dreams and out of dreams, and trying to pull things out of your dream, a little bit like that. But I always like the character of Horace Pinker, man. He's just an all-around badass. But this is like a great new cover art here, and of course you get the original DVD VHS cover art right here that Shout Factory provides, and the picture quality on this is outstanding. I've never seen this movie look any better. You get an all-new commentary track by Wes Craven, and you also get some new interviews in here by select cast members, like the guy that played Horace Pinker, and a couple of other cast and crew members talking about their experience making the film, which was actually really kind of cool, and the theatrical trailer, and of course a little bit of basic stuff that you usually get, like still galleries and stuff like that. But that's Shocker on Blu-ray. And next up from Scream Factory also is a movie I didn't like very much, but I wanted to give it a chance. You know what I mean? Because I like supporting independent horror. And that is Army of Frankensteins here on Blu-ray. Oh my god, it's about this young kid named Alan. I just looked on the back here to try to remember his name. At the beginning of this film, he wants to propose to his girlfriend that he's loved for many, many years. She works at the supermarket. He goes there, tries to propose to her, but it kind of, backfires on him. And he's just kind of distraught, not knowing what he's going to be doing. So he's like walking around outside until he gets beat up by a couple of thugs in the middle of the street and taken in to this one abandoned building where this one crazy scientist guy is like, just doing all these crazy, experiments on things and on people, and wants to experiment on Alan himself, and come to find out, the crazy scientist doctor, his friend, and Alan get transported to the Civil War days somehow, like, Back to the Future kind of thing. They're there and they're trying to figure out how the hell did they get there, and how the hell they're going to get back to present day. But at the same time, when they're there in Civil War, when they got transported to Civil War days, there's these army of Frankenstein monsters, that are after them, and they need to figure out how the hell they're going to take out these, Frankenstein monsters. There's a big group of them. Pretty much what the movie is. I really couldn't get into it. They really had like really bad makeup effects. Like everyone that had mustaches, you can totally tell they were like really fake, just like stuck on, mustaches, like when you can buy at a party store and just go, all right, I have a mustache. It was like really bad, kind of mustache things. The acting was okay, but like it just didn't really keep my interest. But that's Army of Frankensteins here. But next up over here is something I love, and I'm really glad that Shout Factory is re-releasing these here on DVD, because I believe years ago when the official releases of these came out, they went out of print and they went all very expensive, and now Shout Factory is re-releasing the seasons or volumes, and this is volume 1 of Mystery Science Theater 3000 here on DVD. You get the Catalina Caper, the Creeping Terror, Bloodlust, and the Skydivers here on DVD, just like you did in the original Volume 1 of the, I believe, was it Rhino that put out the original DVD releases, like in the bigger box sets? Because I remember I used to have a handful of those, Mystery Science Theater DVDs back in the day, and I sold them because I was trying to make some money, and I knew I could because they were very, very expensive. But now that Shout Factory put them out, you can get them for, next to nothing compared to the prices that they used to be. But the cool thing is about this set here, if you guys don't know, actually, if you don't know what Mystery Science Theater 3000 is, this is pretty much about a group of guys, talking smack about, crappy B movies. And this is, like them just like, kind of like, sort of like commentating over movies, if you guys don't know. It's just a very fun concept, and I've always really liked these guys. And these guys also went on to do their own thing called Riff Tracks, which I believe they're doing now. I think they just did one for Sharknado 3, I believe. But there's some new special features on here, like an extended trailer for the Creep Behind the Camera, the Crown Jewel, which is a short little documentary kind of thing, talking about B movies of the 50s and 60s, 70s, and what have you, and how they always had trouble getting distribution by big companies and things like that, which was really interesting. And you get a Q&A in here from Scarefest talking about the Creep Behind the Camera, which was actually kind of a really cool little feature that they put on here that wasn't on their original Volume 1 release. But each film on here comes in its own separate disc, so you don't have to worry about, the picture being really bad or anything like that. But if you guys are a fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000, just wanted to let you guys all know that Volume 1 has been re-released, so you guys can get your hands on it for next to nothing now compared to the old prices. And next up over here, I'm very, very excited about talking about this one also. It's from Universal, and it's a film I saw in the movie theater with Michael Ray Bauer when it first came out, and that is Furious 7 here on Blu-ray. Of course, this is the 7th film in the Fast and the Furious franchise, and the final film of Paul Walker here. And that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to go see this movie in the first place, is just to see how they would, how they would handle Paul Walker's death in the film, because he only finished like what 50 to 70% of the movie, and they had to get like his brother to body double for him. I believe it was his brother, from what I remember reading or listening to. That was one of the main, like I said, the main reasons why I wanted to check out this film, and I really fell in love with it, man. It's one of the better of the Fast and the Furious movies. I was never really a fan of Fast and the Furious 2 and then like Tokyo Drift. Those are like my least two favorite ones. I've always liked the first one, and then the franchise really picked up to me when Fast and the Furious 5 came out, when The Rock was like introduced into the films. It always really blew me away. You know what I mean? Like they really turned the franchise around after number 5. And this one is just, more of the same of the Fast and the Furious franchise. You get the team back together again, and the bad guy from Part 6 is like dying in a hospital, and of course his the brother of the bad guy from Part 6 is played by Jason Statham, and he wants revenge, on Toretto and his crew for taking out his brother. And this is, the back and forth between the two, and all the crazy, exciting action goes on from there. And the picture quality on this Blu-ray blew me away. Absolutely beautiful on here. And of course you get a handful of new special features on here. You even get a special feature on this disc with the cast and crew talking about Fast and the Furious Supercharged, the new ride that's over at Universal Studios right now. It's really kind of cool that they incorporated a special feature on here talking about that. But if you guys have never seen Fast and the Furious 7, definitely get it. Great over-the-top action. Really, really balls to the wall kind of stuff. Alright guys, and next up from Warner Brothers and that is Mad Max Fury Road here on Blu-ray. This is the 4th film in the Mad Max franchise, and it's still directed by George Miller, the same guy who directed their original trilogy back in the 80s. And I thought that was really kind of cool that, he's still going strong with the, the filmmaking and, the Mad Max franchise. I'm not going to get too much into the story because there's not a whole crap ton going on. It's just pretty much a car chase and things blowing up, people trying to escape, things blowing up. Just about a group of women trying to escape this evil leader and trying to get to safety, while Mad Max is kind of included in there, kind of sort of helping them out along the way, and that's pretty much it. The bad guys chasing the girls, trying to get them back, and that's pretty much all I can really say about this movie. But I thought this movie was absolutely just pure fun. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a whole lot of story in here to, you know, to really get invested with characters or anything like that. You just kind of like, oh, these girls need to get to safety. Mad Max is there to kind of help them along the way, and that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? And enjoy the ride. And you know, this movie didn't really need a whole shit ton of story, to be honest, man. This movie was just really plain awesome, just by itself. You know what I mean? The look of the film, the post-apocalyptic world that they're in. To me, it kind of sort of felt like, you know, I was watching Waterworld, but like on sand. You know what I mean? Instead of on water. But a much better made film. Like, I've always loved Waterworld. I know it bombed really bad in the box office, but this movie, to me, kind of sort of felt like that movie a little bit. You know what I mean? If you know what I'm kind of saying? With like the way they had the water kind of rationed out and like all this crazy different little things, they kind of felt like I was watching Waterworld. But I gotta say, Charlize Theron in this movie was just absolutely badass, and so was you know, Tom Hardy in here. But if you're a fan of the Mad Max franchise and if you guys haven't seen this one, I say go out there and pick this one up, watch this one with a group of your friends, and just have a good old time. You know what I mean? Because I really had a good time with this film. It looks amazing on Blu-ray. This like the sets and the practical effects that you know, George Miller used in this movie. I know there was some CGI and some green screen here and there, but I believe by watching this film, there was really some really great, you know, practical effects used in this film. So if you're a fan of Mad Max, or if you haven't seen it yet, definitely pick up this Blu-ray. It looks absolutely amazing. And next up from the Warner Archive collection is the George Lopez Show, the complete 5th season here on DVD. This season right here, this DVD contains all 23 episodes of season 5 here on 3 discs. And this, of course, is a continuation from season 4, because at the end of season 4, George Lopez's daughter Carmen just went up to him and said, "I'm pregnant and I'm gonna be getting married," and she's only like 14 or 15 or something like that, and George, you know, it left off in a cliffhanger and starts right back up, you know, where it left off, and it's just him trying to deal with what's really going on. And at the beginning of season 5, George Lopez's mother's house burns down, and now his crazy mother has to live with him during this season, and it's him trying to put up with the craziness because she's absolutely out of her mind. And that's pretty much all you can really say about this show. It's just a really funny sitcom that I've always really liked. I always liked George Lopez. He's a really funny comedian. But if you're a fan of just sitcoms in general, and you've never seen George Lopez show before, definitely check it out, man. It's just absolutely, you know, just one of those shows you put on, shut your mind off, and just, you know, veg out for a while. And next up over here is another one from the Warner Archive collection. It's a film I've never seen before until I got this Blu-ray, and the only reason I really wanted to see it is because Robin Williams is in it, and it's his very first dramatic role that he did, from what I read, and that is The World According to Garp here on Blu-ray. And it's pretty much about this young guy named T.S. Garp, who, you know, this movie just sort of follows his life from when he was born, you know, until he, you know, gets to adulthood and things, and just follows him along the way on his highs and lows in his life. And his mother's like a real feminist, and she's a nurse, and, you know, it's just how he deals with her, you know, his crazy kind of mother. And it's really kind of hard to explain this movie, because it's kind of just like a biopic, you know, on a person's life, and, you know, what happens and how he learns about sex and how he falls in love with his wife and has kids. And, you know what I mean? It's just one of those kind of movies. It's not really a whole shit ton to explain, but I really did like it. You know what I mean? It really did have a nice little vibe to it. It's a little long. It could have been a little shorter, but like, this is one of those ones that always escaped me and I've never seen before. And I thought this one was great. And this is also one of Glenn Close's film. This is Glenn Close's film debut in here, playing Robin Williams' mother in the film. And I don't know, man. It was just a nice little movie. It wasn't amazing, didn't blow me away, but like, I really did dig this one for what this one was. And if you guys have never seen this one before and you want to see a good Robin Williams movie, definitely check out The World According to Garp here on Blu-ray. And next up over here from Sony is a film. I'm so happy, man. I'm so happy and excited it's out on Blu-ray, man, because you guys all know I love martial art movies, kung fu movies and stuff. And that is the 30th anniversary edition of The Last Dragon here on Blu-ray. Oh my god. It's about this guy named I'm just gonna call him Bruce Leroy, because they call him that once or twice in the movie. It's about this young kid named Bruce Leroy, who's trained by this great master at the beginning of this movie. And at the beginning of this movie, his master's like, I taught you everything I know, my son. You need to go and find the glow. And, you know, the glow is like this, you know, the special power he needs to, you know, make his, you know, martial arts come full circle and things. And, you know, he heads out back to New York where he lives, you know, to start his life again with his family and friends and what have you. And when he gets to New York, he encounters this crazy guy that's going around with this, you know, with the street gang, and the leader of the street gang is named the Shogun, and he's like this big, you know, this big dude who's like, you know, the big badass martial art guy of the town, going around kicking people's butts because he can, until Bruce Leroy is back in town and there to kick butt and take names. And you know, and of course he has a relationship with like this really beautiful popular singer that gets kidnapped, and he tries to go and save her. But this movie is just pure fun, pure cheese, looks amazing on Blu-ray, and I absolutely love it. On this Blu-ray here, you get the original audio commentary track, which was included on the original DVD release of the film, and you also get like a 30-minute making of featurette with Bruce Leroy himself, and you know, some of the cast and crews that are still around talking about the making of the film, and it's just a really cool like little documentary on here, and of course the theatrical trailer. And this, but I just gotta say, man, this artwork is just killer, man. It kind of looks like something that Shout Factory would put out, to be honest. Big fan of this film. Great martial art action in here. Acting is kind of cheesy, but that's what you kind of expect, you know, for movies like this. But I absolutely love it. Highly recommend it. If you guys see this out there, please pick it up. I believe it's like a Best Buy exclusive. Alright guys, and next up from Paramount is a film I wanted to see because I'm a fan of Jack Black, and this is his new film called The D Train here on Blu-ray. It also stars James Marsden here on Blue, and it's pretty much about Jack Black's character. He plays a character named Dan. He's like the head of his reunion committee at school, where him and his group of people are trying to get, you know, all the classmates from his year of graduation to come to their reunion that's coming up. And he comes up with this plan to try to get you know, James Marsden's character to come in, because he was like the most popular kid in school, and you know, he thinks if they get him to come, you know, everyone's gonna show up to this reunion this year. And it's pretty much Jack Black's bring him to the reunion and all the craziness that ensues from there, with him having to go to New York to go get him, and you know, getting into like drugs and doing crazy stuff, you know, with this guy, and you know, just trying to do the best he can to get him, you know, to the reunion. That's all I can really say about this film. It's one of those films that it's billed as a comedy, but I didn't laugh at it, really. I didn't laugh out loud with it. I was amused, and I really did like it, but it wasn't one of those like you know, kind of movies like Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion or anything like that. It has its own weird, quirky kind of, you know, dark humor to it. You know what I mean? There's like something that there's something that happens to Jack Black's character in this movie. You know, when he's in New York, and he always kind of wants to get closure on it during the movie, and you're watching it going, was that supposed to be funny? You know what I mean? Like weird different little things that happen in this movie that are just kind of like, what am I watching? You know, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I still can't wait to see Jack Black in the Goosebumps movie, man. That looks like it's gonna be cool. Him playing R.L. Stine in the new Goosebumps movie that's coming out. Can't wait. But you know, the D Train here, if you want to get your little Jack Black fix, give this one a chance, guys. It was alright. And next up over here is a movie I couldn't really get into. It's from Paramount also. It stars Ethan Hawke, who I love. And this is his new film called Good Kill here on Blu-ray. And in here, he plays this guy who's kind of like a soldier in Iraq. But not really on Iraq. He kind of, you know, heads these drones that go into Iraq to like blow things up from afar. You know, while he lives in the suburbs and things, while really having to be in Iraq to do it. You know, it's like these soldiers that go on these drone missions that take these, you know, like helicopter plane things with bombs and like with cameras and stuff, and find out if there's any, you know, like Taliban or anything crazy going on, and like, you know, drops bombs on things before anything happens. And it's just, you know, follows a story about, you know, Ethan Hawke's character that does this for a living, and how it takes its toll on him, and how, doing this really affects his life, and he's just kind of getting tired of it. And this movie just kind of, shows how much this weighs on him and how he's just really getting tired of doing stuff like that. That's all I can really say about the movie, man. It was just really kind of dull. It has a great premise, a great idea for a movie, but like for some reason it felt like I was watching like a Saturday morning, made for TV kind of movie or something. You know what I mean? Like it didn't really have like a big meaning, to it to me. Like, it kind of sort of felt like the ghetto version of American Sniper, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like the one, I don't know. It kind of sort of felt like that. I really couldn't get into it. Sorry if my lazy eye is going crazy. It does that sometimes, and I can't control it. Sorry. And next up over here from HBO is a film I wanted to see because it stars Queen Latifah, Monique, and this is a new film called Bessie here on Blu-ray, and this is a biopic on Bessie Smith, the great soul singer, recording artist, one of the most popular recording artists of the 1920s and 30s, and this is just a biopic about her life. And, how she grew up and all the, highs and lows in her life and how she became the great, soul singer of her time. And, of course, Queen Latifah plays the role of Bessie Smith in here. And I think she played it beautifully. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know Bessie Smith at all. Like, I heard one or two of her songs, in my time. But I thought Queen Latifah, this is one of her stronger roles, to be honest. I always liked her since the movie Set It Off, and, what was that one movie called Bringing Down the House she did with Steve Martin? I've always really kind of liked her as an actress, but, like, she's never really did, like, really solid acting roles, you know what I mean? Like, where she's actually getting, being taken serious as an actress, and I think this one right here is, like, something that she can really grasp onto and maybe win an Emmy for it, because this was, like, a made-for-HBO movie, and who knows, she might win an Emmy for this one this year, but I'm not quite sure. But if you guys like biopic films about singers, definitely give this one a watch, man. It was actually really kind of interesting. And next up over here from Twilight Time, and this is the Stanley Kramer movie I've always liked since I watched it with my father back in the day. And it's called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner Here, starring Sidney Poitier and what was his name again? Spencer Tracy. And this movie is pretty much about these two young people who fall in love with one another. One of them's white, the other one's black, and they want to get married to each other, but yet they have to, tell their parents about it first. But this takes place, back in a time, like what, 50s or 60s or something, when interracial relationships, were kind of forbidden back then. Like parents of the day and the people of the time were like, "What are you doing? This is not right. This ain't cool." And it's kind of like that, where these young couple really love each other, and they're coming to their parents with it, and it's just like the drama that that incurs with that from back in the day, and what the parents think, and how their opinions sway back and forth and things. I thought this movie was just a very, very well told story. It was also remade in the early 2000s with Bernie Mac and Ashton Kutcher. Definitely doesn't have the same kind of message as this film does, and I believe like this one right here also kind of sort of rings true for today. I'm sure there's still people out there that don't like interracial relationships and things like that, but you know what I mean? If a person loves, if people love one another, it shouldn't really matter. You know what I mean? But I gotta say, this movie looks absolutely beautiful on Blu-ray. Sidney Poitier and the cast knock it out of the park in this movie. But this Blu-ray has a handful of new special features on here. New audio commentary track by film historian. And you also get some video intros in here about Stanley Kramer's wife and some, I forgot his name again. I can't think of it off the top of my head again. But you get Quincy Jones intro on here, the original theatrical trailer, great amount of special features on here if you're a fan of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner here on Blu-ray. It looks amazing. So go to screenarchives.com to pick yourself up a copy. And next up over here from Lionsgate is a film I really kind of wanted to get into, but I really couldn't because I don't know, it just was all over the place. And it's called American Heist here on Blu-ray, starring Georgiana Brewster, Adrian Brody, and Hayden Christensen, who you guys all know from like the Star Wars prequels and things. And in this movie, Hayden Christensen plays this guy. Years ago, him and his brother got into some really bad stuff, and he got put into jail. And he's been out of jail for a couple of years now, and trying to start a new life with his new business that he has going, working in a car shop. And but yeah, things are not really going good for him. He really needs money. He's really, really having a hard time with money. But at the same time, his brother is being let out of jail after 10 years and needs his brother to go on one last heist so they can get some money that they need to not have to worry about life anymore. And it's them, planning this heist. And this movie really kind of goes nowhere. You don't really care about the characters. You don't really care about the bad guys, the menacing part. Like, it's one of those movies, like, there's really not a lot of character development. You don't really care about anything that's happening in this movie. Maybe like the people that are in the bank that are being robbed, that are like on the floor, but like that's it. You know what I mean? There's really like no oomph to this movie. You know what I mean? Like watch movies like Dog Day Afternoon, like Heat, Casino. Like those are some great heist kind of movies. This one is gonna be one of those ones you're gonna watch and totally forget about. You know what I mean? Like 2 minutes after you watch it, to be honest, guys. But that's American Heist. Next two up here are from Olive Films, and the first one up here stars Alicia Silverstone, who you guys all know from Clueless. And this is a film I haven't seen in a long time, and it's called The Babysitter here on Blu-ray. It's pretty much in this film, Alicia Silverstone plays this babysitter who's hired to babysit these two kids, for the night as the parents go out, doing their thing. But in this movie, she's like the obsession of, of the town, pretty much, of like all these guys that want to be with her, like her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, the father of the kids she's babysitting want to be with her, and it's just the craziness that she endures the one night that she's babysitting these kids that, may or may not change her life for the worse, to be honest. And that's all you can really say about this movie. I thought this movie was a lot better back in the day when I first saw it. I kind of got this movie confused with the movie I really liked that she was in, that she did around the same time, called Crush. I thought that movie was amazing. For some reason, I thought this one and that one, like I thought this one was that one for some reason when I got it. But I still thought it was okay. Alicia Silverstone was beautiful. I don't know where she is now acting-wise. Haven't seen her really do much of anything. But if you like Alicia Silverstone, give this one a chance, but it's not mind-blowing. But the picture quality on here was actually pretty decent. The film hasn't looked, any better. But that's from Olive Films here, The Babysitter. And the next up over here is a film from Olive Films also that I've never seen before. Right here, it came out in 1982, and it's called The Sender here on Blu-ray. It's about this one guy in the movie. They call him like Patient 83 or something like that. At the beginning of this film, he's like walking out on this beach and walking into a river to try to commit suicide and kill himself. But of course, he gets taken into this mental hospital to be treated and things like that. While he meets this one doctor or nurse that works in this hospital and kind of sort of befriends her a little bit, until this nurse starts to see visions and see crazy things through the eyes of Patient 83. And like, one day she starts seeing blood, popping out of the mirror, coming down from the mirrors, and like, seeing weird images of stuff. And then she goes, well, wait a minute, what's going on? And then she runs over to where, Patient 83 is, and he's about to commit suicide, split his wrist and things. Like, she starts to see different little things happen before they happen, and she's trying to figure out why she's seeing these visions and what's really going on with Patient 83. And you have to watch the movie to find out. It's a really kind of creepy psychological thriller that I really kind of dug, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't really expecting much from it because I didn't really know, what this movie was. It was a solid psychological thriller that I really dug. But that's The Sender there on Blu-ray. And next up over here from RLJ Entertainment is the re-release of Crystal Lake Memories here, the complete history of the Friday the 13th franchise. And if you guys have never seen this before, this is like a 5 or 6 hour documentary on the making of all the Friday the 13th movies, especially the Paramount ones, that came out back in the day. And this is like the new official release that's being pushed out there right now. It's a 2-disc edition, and it pretty much tells you everything you need to know, about the Friday the 13th series, from the cast, the crew, the creators, like everyone that was involved with the making of these movies is in this documentary, telling you how it was being on set, how it was being a part of these films. Like, you get all the ins and outs of every little story. And it's actually made because this one book that came out called The Crystal Lake Memories, like a tabletop book, and they turned it into a documentary. And I always really liked this, man. Like, I already own the original Blu-ray that came out. I'm probably going to give this to, like, Gabriel or Lewis or something. If you're out there watching this, Lewis, let me know if you want it, homie. But, yeah, I just wanted to let you guys all know that this is out now officially on Blu-ray, which I'm sure you can see it in Walmarts and Best Buys and things. But if you love Friday the 13th, man, definitely check out this documentary. Really well done, man. 6 hours, but time flew by, man. Love that documentary. And next up is a documentary film from PBS that I really, really wanted to see. And it's called Walt Disney, He Made Us Believe, here on DVD. This is a two-part PBS documentary on the man himself, and how he started the Walt Disney Company by doing short films back in the day, and how he moved on up to making feature films, and how he, went into making the Walt Disney World, and of course, and how he died and things with cancer. And it's just an amazing documentary, an amazing inside look on the man himself, Walt Disney, the good and the bad about the man, because he wasn't always, all shiny and happy and how you think he was. You know what I mean? Like they even went into the strike that happened in the Walt Disney Studios, where a lot of animators, walked out on him because he wasn't paying people fair wages back in the day. It was just a very, well done documentary that, I don't think Disney Corporation themselves would have put out. You know what I mean? Because they didn't want to put out the bad, image of Walt Disney. Because Walt Disney wasn't a perfect man. He wasn't, the worst man ever, but he wasn't the greatest man ever either. But he did a lot of great, wonderful work, and I've always loved his movies, man. And this is a great two-part documentary. So if you guys want to know more about the man himself and Walt Disney Corporation, definitely check out this documentary here called Walt Disney Made Me Believe, here on DVD. Great one. It's like 4 hours long, though. Alright, guys, and last but not least from PBS also is America's Test Kitchen, the complete 15th season here on DVD. This set right here includes 4 DVDs of season 15, all the episodes that were included on that season. If you guys don't know what America's Test Kitchen is, it's pretty much about a group of people, just showing you different recipes and how to prepare certain foods for yourself at home on the cheap, and, healthier, options and things. Not all the time. They show you how to, like, make brownies and, crazy things like that too. But, like, they talk about comfort foods, seafoods. This one is actually really kind of fun. You know what I mean? It kind of reminds me of, like, Mr. Wizard back in the day. Just, like, real simple, real kind of, like, daytime television kind of, kind of a cooking show, to be honest. And I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen any other seasons of this before, but I just kind of wanted to see it because my friend Sean said, hey, you should check this one out. You might like this one, Brendan. But it has all 26 episodes on 4 discs here, so that's season 15 of America's Test Kitchen. But guys, that's all I have to talk to you guys about today for this Blu-ray DVD update video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you guys like my videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Hoarders, unite.